Well, we have more good news for the upcoming 2025 season. Peter Woods has confirmed, I am coming back. I'm not hitting the transfer portal. I'm not going to take more money somewhere else. I'll just get more money from Clemson. Okay, I added that part, but most likely that's it, and he deserves it. If you're going to pass around, the chance of going into the Brinks truck and getting out whatever you want, Peter Woods is definitely at the top of that list or in that top 4 or 5 of the Clemson Tigers roster. But a lot of people are breathing a sigh of relief that Peter Woods is, in fact, coming back. I'm very, very happy about that. Before I go any farther, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you like talking college football, if you like talking Clemson football, and you like supporting independent media, I hope you will subscribe. Remember, it's free. Peter Woods is one of those guys that from the moment he stepped on the field of the spring game in 2023, I just stopped and stared at the dude. He didn't look like a true freshman. He didn't look like that just 5 months earlier he was walking through his high school. He looked like someone who had been playing college football for a while. But he was a true freshman. And he went on and put up some incredible numbers last year. In 2023, he had 26 tackles, 13 solo, and he had 1 forced fumble. But you had to keep up with the guy. You had to know where he was at all times. Now, remember, he was sharing time with Rook and other players, Tyler Davis. But then this year he had 26 tackles, but he had injuries. Remember, he got hurt against Appalachian State. It was a cheap block. It was a cheap block. Sorry, I just want to ensure I said the correct thing here. So he missed times, but he still had 26 tackles, 18 solo, 3 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. And with a defensive line who already needs help, Clemson went to the transfer portal, got Will Helt. They have Amari Adams coming in, the big recruit here out of the state of South Carolina. You have the really good news yesterday that TJ Parker, in fact, is coming back to Clemson, which is really good news. You couldn't help but look over there at Peter Woods and go, are you or are you not? But he says he is. And that's good news for Clemson. That's good news for this coming season. Clemson needs as many elite players like these guys on the field. And I know that's a duh statement for some of you. Some of you are like, that goes without saying, Brian. Really, does it? I feel like sometimes with this new era of Clemson football, we have moments where the main thing is no longer the main thing. The recruits that we're getting, we're happy with those recruits. But you're not getting the recruits that you once were, especially this season. Now, we can talk about Sammy Brown and Wesco and TJ Moore last year, and I'm not knocking that. But this year is not that. This recruiting class right now as a whole has not been that successful. So when you see a guy like Peter Woods or you see TJ Parker say, hey, we're coming back, you see Clemson go to the transfer portal and get Will Helt, a true sophomore. I believe he's a true sophomore. I know he's a sophomore out of Purdue. 56 tackles, 5 sacks. Guy's massive. It makes you feel better about next season because Clemson's going to have a chance at a special season next year. Offensively, that is. So hearing this is extremely good news for Clemson fans and the trajectory of next season. Because you will blink, and I say this, and I'll be the same one that's moaning and groaning in June. In May, And I've been through multiple off seasons, and I'm going to tell you, it never gets any easier. It never gets any easier. I don't care how many years I've been watching college football, it never gets any easier. But as you get closer to next season, it's guys like Peter Woods and TJ Parker coming back. It's guys like TJ Moore and Bryant Wesco returning. That's going to make you have more hope next year. That very first game against LSU, just like yesterday, I felt like it was just yesterday I was talking about Clemson and Georgia getting together in Atlanta in 8 months. And that was almost 4 months ago. In a few days, it's 4 months ago since Clemson and Georgia played in Atlanta. And when you have guys like Peter Woods, TJ Parker, these guys returning, it makes you feel better about next season, at least on the field, the players, the personnel there. There's a lot of ideas about what's going to happen after the bowl game season is over, after the playoffs are over. That's another video that's going to happen really soon. I'm going to be talking about that. Go ahead and give you insight into what's coming up next, because my goal is to be as active as I possibly can be in the off season, to where even though it's the off season, you're still hearing from me talking about not only Clemson but college football and how it relates to our Tigers. And then I just like talking college football. I would have done more predictions over the past few days had I not been so busy this week. You know how it is. The week of Christmas, especially, end of year and so on. So I'm excited he's coming back, and I'm excited that he's going to be here with his buddy TJ Parker, Will Helt coming in, Amari Adams coming to Clemson this year. You have other players who, if we can get them healthy, Vic Burley, if we can get these guys going, it will help us. But some of the videos that's going to be coming up very soon, folks, is going to be talking about what is the next move once bowl season is over. Don't know if you've paid attention to it or not, but the ACC has royally embarrassed itself in the bowl games. Nothing to thump your chest about and be proud about at all. How does that relate to Clemson? How should that relate to our expectations of our Tigers? Let me get to the comments section. Get in here. Blake Harrison. Blake, good to see you, man. Just found your channel yesterday. Enjoy the content. Keep it up. Go Tigers. Go Tigers, Blake. It's good to see you, my friend. Feels a little like Wilkins and Dexter staying for the year we won the Natty. Maybe it's a sign. Tommy, let me tell you this. Player-wise, I agree with you. Until our sideline issue with the coaches is fixed, that's what makes me hesitant. That's what makes me hesitant to celebrate Tommy. And this is just not a response to Tommy. This is a response to everyone. Clemson's sideline is what's holding them back. Are you talking about Dabo Swinney, the man who gave us? I'm talking about the coaches around him, folks. Coaches around him. You saw the immediate impact of Matt Luke. How is it? And somebody asked me this. They were trying to insult me and challenge me at the same time on a comment. And in fact, I went back to him, said, hey, go check out my other videos where I actually give the solution for Clemson football. Hey, folks, I can say it in 15 seconds. Swinney tried to give the same opportunity he was given as a young coach to run things, and he took the bull by the horns and did it. And he tried to extend that to other coaches. Some had never even coached before. Some had never coached at this level. But unfortunately, over a short amount of time, his entire coaching staff, almost his entire coaching staff, was filled with first-timers. Look what Matt Luke did. Matt Luke is an elite coach with unbelievable experience. Get a room full of him on both sides of the football. I don't care if you play in the SEC week in and week out, you'll win a national championship. So My hesitation for next year is not with the players, not nearly as much as the players as it is the sidelines. But I get what you're saying, Tommy. I agree with you. How many do we have on scholarship right now? I feel like our newest class is rather small. How many more portal pieces are we going after? Good question, Jared. I really don't know. I really don't know how many pieces that we're going after, but we're going to have to start being more careful with who we're giving scholarships to. When it's time to go to the portal. And by the way, I'm going to even say that idea. I'm going to let you know that there may be a video coming up very soon about how I'm changing my mind on the portal in the sense of, you'll find out. You'll find out. It's good to see my friend. When does Cade announce what he's going to do next year? I don't know, but I do believe he's coming back, and I'll tell you why. He's finally getting continuity at Clemson with his OC, with his players. He has the wide receivers. And I just don't know why he would leave and go somewhere else. Yes, money, but if his idea is to go to the NFL, he needs to stay put. That's my opinion. I don't think he's going to leave. Good to see you, Kevin. Hey, who would you replace DC with? Should Dabo go after someone with NFL experience? That's a good question. Everybody saw Brent Venables lose a game yesterday to Navy. And they finished the season, 6-7, something like that? It's terrible. I think his buyout's large. I need to go look at that. So I don't see Venables coming back anytime soon. I know that's not your question. But that's the person everyone is thinking about. But to semi-answer your question, I don't know about the whole NFL thing, but whoever the next DC, if there's a change at DC, whoever it is, it can't be someone who was a defensive analyst and now they're running the show. You can't do that anymore. You can't go get someone who circled the toilet bowl of college football coaching. You need someone like a Matt Luke. Look at Matt Luke and ask yourself, is he an expert? Yes, that should be the question for every position on the Clemson coaching staff. And I'm telling you, I stand by my statement. That's how you fix Clemson. Recruits will want to come play for those guys. You're going to have to pay. You're going to have to pay us a new college game. But that's my answer. Whoever is a true expert at DC, if there is a change made there, that needs to be the next hire. I'd say Klubnik will make more money coming back. That's what I figure. If he rolls out for the NFL draft, we are sincerely. Jared, he's not. I do not believe he's going to the NFL because he hasn't shot. I mean, unless he wants to be picked in the 6th round, and I'm not taking a shot at him. I'm just saying he still has a lot to prove. Are all the Clemson fans still mad at Dabo Swinney? Sue Kavanaugh's asking that question. My old buddy Sue, good to see you. You know what? Clemson, I think, is in a royal state of confusion right now because you realize you just lost 4 games for a second season in a row, and every time you played a really good football team, you lost. And then that's offset by, well, you did win 10 wins. You did win a conference championship. Granted, the conference is terrible, but you went to the college football playoff. Granted, again, you lost by 2 touchdowns. It's kind of weird right now, Sue. It's according to who you talk to. There's some people right now that they're as happy. They're almost as happy as they were when Clemson won 2 national championships in 3 years. So it's according to who you're talking to. I'm not saying that I'm mad at Coach Swinney. I'm just sitting here looking at Dabo going, dude, I see what you did. I laid out that scenario just a second ago about giving chances to people. But man, it really hasn't worked. And you've had to fire a coach or two for the past 2 years, which that doesn't build a good culture among your coaching staff because you're looking at one another going, who's fired next? I don't see how that's building a good, comforting culture. So I'm not mad at him. To me, it's just like, hey, have you learned your lesson by like hiring guys like Matt or hiring Matt Luke? I would go out and hire a bunch of him, and you can get them at Clemson. A whole lot cheaper than paying $3 million to a high school quarterback who hasn't proven a thing. So it's according to who you talk to. It's good to see you. Let me see. I understand the logistics of bowl games with the transfer portal and players opting out, but the ACC is not looking very strong. Yeah, Tanner, they look awful. ACC looks like a joke. So a lot of people, uh, are totally fine with losing 4 games. They're totally fine, and in the Clemson community, a lot of them are totally fine with losing 4 games. A lot of them are totally fine by getting beat by double digits in the Louisville and Georgia and Texas game. They're totally fine with that. Totally fine with it. So nothing really makes sense. Up is down and down is up. Brent's buyout's $45 million right now. Yeah, he's probably staying another season. Tiger Tom, Caden needs a senior year. Whatever he does is transfer to declaring whatever makes more sense in his case anyway. Yeah, I agree with you. Just some minced garlic. I called it on the last video. Woods and TJ were coming back, and I'm calling it on this one. Kate is too. I agree with you. The whole band is getting back together next season. I hope so. I definitely hope so. So you mean no more coaches' kids on scholarship? Yeah, and a few others. There's people that's receiving scholarships, and they're like, this young man, he works hard. To quote the grandpa on National Lampoon Christmas Vacation, so does washing machines. Clemson can give out a few scholarships here and there to a few guys who works hard, but overall, Clemson's in no place to be giving out scholarships to guys who are not really going to make a difference when they could be giving those same scholarships to guys who could make them majorly competitive in these big games. So if Klubnik can have a real breakout year, then his draft stock goes up sharply. This time next year, he'd be set. And you know what? He had a pretty good season. But he's got to get those marquee wins. And I think that has to be the difference. But that's just not a Cade thing. That's a coaching thing. Roger Parks, Clemson still needs to get out of the ACC. I see that symbol beside Roger's name. Roger supports on a monthly basis, either $3 or $5 per month. Thank you for supporting the channel. I do appreciate it. I get the sentiment behind that. A lot of people's like, no, stay in the ACC and because it would challenge you. Yeah, it would challenge you. If Clemson went to the SEC or the Big Ten and they started losing games, they started losing 5 and 6 games, it would force some decisions, folks. And I think that's where Roger is going there. I think that's where he's going with that. All right, folks. Tyree, will Clemson get more players out of the portal? You really can't put a finger on that with this staff. I can't figure out what they're doing to a point when it comes to the transfer portal, who they will go after and who they won't go after. Clemson needed help on the defensive line, and we knew that last season. And there really wasn't a play sincerely made. I say sincerely. It just didn't seem very aggressive. That's what I mean. But we'll see, Tyree. It's a good question. Well, folks, Peter Woods is coming back. TJ Parker's coming back. I agree with just some minced garlic. I believe Cade is coming back. I don't see him leaving Clemson. So we'll see what happens. But anyone, everyone. Anyway, what did I just say? I need to go to sleep. Anyway, I hope everyone's doing well. If you haven't subscribed and you like what I'm doing, I hope you will. It is, listen to me, it is free. Y'all take care of yourself. And as always, go Tigers.